My name is Marilyn Monroe. When I was the biggest star in the world, it was insane. Everybody knew me. I couldn't even leave my house. So I met all kinds of people, writers, actors, of course, and even some politicians. The one I really fell for was none other than the President of the USA. But he was married, and I knew my chances were small that he would ever be my husband. So just to make him a little jealous, I went out with his brother Bobby every now and then. And boy, he really didn't like that at all. So he had my house completely bugged, with microphones. One day, I was even invited to sing for him on his birthday. Can you imagine? Me, singing for the president. It was the high point of my life. Unfortunately, it was also the end of my life. But I should start from the beginning. I know you have heard a lot about me, but never did I myself tell the story. Now I will. I started my life dreaming of stardom. The big time, being on magazines, being on the radio, maybe even be in pictures. I have always dreamed to escape my bleak life that I had back then. But you know how it is, you get used to things. I think you can get used to almost everything. If you don't forget which direction you are going, that is the most important thing. So, I came from a broken home, I think everybody knows that. And I wanted to be a star, famous, like in the fairy tales. And so I got divorced from my first husband and went to Hollywood. Where else would a star be born if not in Hollywood, right? In the beginning, it was a bit rough. I got some commercials to do. I got a minor contract at a studio. I did whatever they told me to do. But I was not getting anywhere at all, so I figured it's Hollywood. And the people I see in the glamour magazines, they probably worked hard on themselves to become this famous, this adored and loved. So I did what they all did. I got a huge makeover. I had my hair bleached to platinum. You know what they say, blondes have more fun. Besides, I always adored Jean Harlow. I'm almost ashamed to admit it now, but, my famous smile with my head tilted back, well, that was something I saw Jean Harlow do at the newsreels I saw in the movies. She was promoting her first big hit. It was called Hell's Angels, and it would change her life forever. So I figured, why shouldn't it work for me? I'm a pretty girl, and I have something that Jean Harlow didn't have, a great cleavage. I know it sounds a bit cheap, but you do understand. If you want to sell something, you have to draw attention to it. And in a way, I was selling myself. Maybe in a lot more ways than I thought I would have to, but look at how well it worked. I mean, you are still talking about me to this day, so I must have done something right. When I got a new contract with the same studio that had fired me a few years ago, just this time, with blonde hair, a trained voice, a few acting lessons, and just a little work on my chin and nose, I was ready to become a star. It was easier than I thought, to be honest. I had become what my roommate and I used to call Hollywood babies. I was young, free, and men, oh boy, they just couldn't get enough of me. But I know why you are really here. You don't want to hear about my early life, you want to hear about my death, right? It's okay, I think I would be curious too. So, after the birthday party for my lover, the president, I became rather angry. I thought he would like to be seen with me now. I mean, I was a big star, but he wasn't. He never forgave me for the sensual performance I had given, and what was to follow would be my end. I always had problems sleeping, at least after I became famous. The pressure just got to me, so I had a lot of sleeping medications. I also used some little white ones to keep me going when I made movies. And also, I had to keep my figure. I tell you, my medicine cabinet looked like a pharmacy. So one night, I had a little bit too much to drink. I had just found out that my housekeeper, Mrs. Murray, was also paid by my lover to keep an eye on me, basically spy on me. So I fired her, but it was late, and I didn't want to put the woman out on the street just like that. But I told her she had to leave the next day. I had just moved into the house I owned, and the water wasn't turned on in my bedroom bath yet. So, upset as I was, I just took my champagne and my telephone into my room and locked the door. I called John. I wanted him to know how desperate I was. He said he would come over, but what happened was so much more bizarre than any movie I ever did. He brought some doctors that looked like henchmen. I was honestly afraid. They wanted to give me a shot to calm me down, but that was a lie. Whatever they gave me knocked me out in no time at all. Afterwards, they gave me an enema of various sleeping pills to make it look like I had done the deed myself. But I awoke again. I was nude and confused. The door to my room was locked again, but the patio door had been broken. It was funny because the glass was on the outside of the house, like someone punched a hole through it from the inside. I became more and more dizzy and disoriented. So I tried to call anyone I knew, but my vision was becoming blurry and I couldn't even dial a number anymore. I thought maybe I had dreamed the whole thing with John and had just taken one too many pills, so I just tried to keep walking around. My doctor had told me that would be the best thing to do in this situation. Because to be honest, it had happened before, so please don't judge. I had lost husbands, babies, jobs. I was miserable, and sometimes I lost track of my medication. But not this time. After a while, I blacked out. Now, if I would have wanted to take a powder, that's what we used to call it when someone took too much medication and didn't make it, I would have propped myself up in my best dress, in full makeup. After all, I was a star, and stars have to maintain an image. I wouldn't run around the room till I fell over now, would I? But that's what people chose to believe. It was heartbreaking to see my own funeral, to see my ex-husband Joe crying. I think I never really knew how much he loved me until it was too late. And my fans all over the world shocked by gruesome pictures taken after my last breath. I would never do that to people that adored me and made the star I was and still am. That is just not right. I thought, who cares? I am Marilyn. What can happen to me? I never thought that the man I truly loved would actually be the reason I had to leave this world. But they say karma is a bitch. And I guess John had to learn that soon after myself, the hard way when he was shot in Texas. Serves him right. What right did he have to lead me on and give me false hope? I had never done that in my life, so I am not sorry now either for him. Anyway, what happened later was almost worse. They even stole my diary. Not even after everything was taken from me, they respected my thoughts and opinions or basic rights as a person. Mrs. Murray, remember, was quick to polish used glassware and wash all my sheets. I guess they wanted to make sure there was no link between John and me. What a horrible woman to do those things to me. I really trusted her before I found out about her true intentions, but not even in death would she leave me be. So, there you are. The truth is simple, the truth is told, but don't feel sorry for me. Learn from my mistakes. I became a star from nothing. I worked on myself, and I am still among the most famous people to ever live. I had fun, I was on top, I was Marilyn Monroe. And you know what? If you just try hard enough, you too can get what you want. But take my advice. Be careful what you wish for because it might just really come true. Take care and don't forget me. Love, Marilyn.